Hello friends, welcome to Karen's Stamp Pad. My name is Karen and I would like to show you today my new favorite stamp set. It's called Camillia. So for those of you who don't know, this is part of our Sale-a-bration. We have it going on till the end of February, and for every $60 order you place, you can get a free. Hello, Lorna. Nice to see you. You can get a free Sale-a-bration item worth $60. So it says there. If you order $120, there are a few items. You could get two $60 Sale-a-bration items, or you can get, where is that now? $120. You get the designer series paper for the friendly hello and a free stamp set. So the Calming Camellias is actually the hostess set. So if you host a party and your party makes sales total $375 or higher, you get a free host set, and it is the Calming Camellias, and it is absolutely stunning. So let me just show you up close. And that's the stamp set. I've made quite a few actually cards and note cards. So this is just simple stamping. You stamp. I've used the blending brush and put a few embellishments on it, but it makes beautiful cards. Today I'm going to do just a little bit more, and I'm going to show you this. And it is a fancy fold, and it kind of stands up. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, you got my catalogs. Great. There you go. So it's like that. Open it up on the inside, and a place to write your sentiments. So this is done in Night of Navy, which is one of my favorite colors. I think it's quite stunning. And then this one that I'm going to show you today is used with my absolute favorite Blackberry Bliss. So I've gone ahead and cut out my kit for everything, and what I've done today, instead of trying to remember the sizes of every little piece, I have written them down, and you can screenshot if you like. I'll go over them. This is your card base, and it is cut at 4 1/4, right? 4 1/4 by 11, so the long way, and I've scored it at 5 1/2 and 2 3/4. Because this is going to fold like that and stand up your card. So my second piece, I need another piece of Blackberry Bliss cardstock, and it is cut at 4 1/4 and 5 1/2. And so this is actually going to be attached so that it stands up, and we can put our card front on it. Okay. I don't know how many of these I'm going to get in the pictures. So, hi Chanel, thanks. Okay, so and what I've done is taken a piece of basic white, and it's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and I have embossed it. So that is going to go on top of this one. And so Stampin' Up! Has brushed metallic foils, and they are in silver. Now on this one, I put the foils away. Sorry, I should have kept them out to show you. But there's 3 different looks, and on the first card, it had more of a blue tinge to it, so I used that. And this one's different, and it has almost a purple, so I thought it would go well with the Yes, I can do that. I can take a picture of the sizes and post it. So this goes with this. Now what I've done is I've cut out the brushed metallic foil at 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And what I've done is I've used my die cut machine and my rectangle dies, and I've cut out the center. And 2 reasons for that is I wanted to, because it's going to be covered up with another layer that we're going to stamp on, and I'll show you that, another basic white. It's going to go over top. This is the piece that we're going to stamp. And so all I need is a little border. So I don't want to waste all of that beautiful paper. And so that's number one. And then number two, I can use the other piece, which I'm going to use, smaller piece for the base. And I guess 3 too. It doesn't weigh as much when you're going to, because this is going to be quite a bulky card. It might end up costing a little bit more to mail if you're mailing it to somebody. So, oh, you have the machine. You have a cut and emboss machine. Perfect. Okay, so where'd my little, that goes there. This one goes on here. I don't want to lose them. So I will take a picture. That doesn't want to stay down. There we go. Okay, so the basic white that we are going to stamp, 3 3/4 by 5. And then for the base of the card that holds it up, we've got another piece of basic white at 2 5/8. Sorry, by 4 1/8. A little bit bigger brushed foiled piece, 4 inches by 2 1/4, and basic white inside at 2 5/8 by 4 1/8. And that's going to be the part that up in the middle that you can write your sentiment on. So anyway, let me just take a second. Okay, I'm going to move these over so they get in the picture. And I don't know if I could, so give me a second and I'll take a picture for you and post it. Make sure these aren't all sticking up. Let me grab my phone. And you'll have to probably zoom in to see them. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to move all these aside and we'll start putting the card together. Okay. All right, so like I said, this one is scored at 5 1/2 and 2 3/4. And what I'm going to do is take this piece that is the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm going to put my embossed piece. Now you can emboss it with whatever background you want, or you don't have to emboss it. So I'm going to use my liquid glue just because it gives me a little bit of wiggle room if I don't position it just so. And because I'm using 1/8 of an inch, there's not going to be a lot of border. Let me get under the camera here. See? There we go. Move it around till you see just the Blackberry Bliss. Okay. So it's all just, once you've got everything cut out, it's just a matter of layering it first. So I'm going to take this, and it's cut down 1/8 of an inch smaller. Now when you use your cut and emboss machine to cut out foil. Anything that you have sticking to the plate, and I did earlier, it was stuck on there and I didn't peel it off, it will emboss. So other little flecks of paper, it will emboss on this foil and it will show up. So the other trick that I can give you is to take a piece of paper too, and when you put your die on the plate, put a piece of paper over and run it through, and then you don't get all these little the cut marks that are previously on it, right? So I hope I explained that. Thanks, Lorna. See you later. Okay, here we go. Okay. Such beautiful metallic paper. So I believe it's, and I've got glue on my fingers, so now I can see it on my, all right, there we go. Okay, so we've got that. What I want to do is I'm just going to put together, all right, well, I guess I need to pull in my Stamparatus. Sorry, had a little mind fart there. So I'm going to pull these out of the way and I'm going to do my stamping. And if you get this Stamparatus, which is so great for so many things, but you don't need anything more than this for stamp box. And it's a pretty good deal at, I believe it's $64. So let me bring in my stamps and my center. So I'm going to bring in a piece of basic white cardstock, and it's going to be 3 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I'm going to put it in my Stamparatus, line it up there. Wow, turn that light away. Okay. Now I'm going to take my stamp and I'm going to line it up on top of my piece of paper. And just kind of center it. And then I'm going to put this on. It's going to pull it. And now I know exactly where I'm going to be stamping. So I'm going to pull in my ink pad. And I'm going to stick one underneath just to level it. And I'm going to ink this up. Now, the nice thing about the Stamparatus is we're going to put this down. And I'd like it to be a little bit darker than this. So I can do it again, and it's going to go in exactly the same position. So I don't have to worry about shadows, and I can stamp it until it's the color that I want. And just a little bit more, I think. Okay, so it's nice and dark, just the way I want it. And what I'm going to do is, I love this shadowing effect, right? Just clean this off. And with the I guess it's silhouette look, not shadow. No, shadow, silhouette. I'm going to put that back in and bring in something else. Let me just finish my stamping first. So I'd like some trendles, and that's in the stamp set. As you can see, there's a few of them that I put onto this card. So I'm going to, I'd like one here. So I'm going to have to do this one at a time because there is only one. There. So, and I'm going to show you another technique because I don't want everything running all the way through. I have done a mask. Now I have some Post-it notes that is sticky on the whole back. And I've stamped it and I've cut it out. So what I'm going to do is just place this on, line it all up, place that over top, and I am going to ink up my trendle, and I'm going to put that on there. So the tail is down in here. You can see, if we get a little closer, sorry. Oh, there we go. Good. You can see it's on that piece. Now, let's just clean this off. And I'm going to move it, and I want it over here. Ooh, see, there's still a little bit on there. So it's a good thing it's going to go in the same spot. There we go. Great. Now one more. Squeaky clean. Do I want one up here? Make it a little closer. There we go. I'm going to put ribbon on the bottom, so I think I'll put that up top. Link it up. Perfect. Okay. And so when I take this off, then it just looks like the trendles are coming out from underneath. Kind of like a bouquet of flowers with baby's breath. And I'm going to put this to the side for now. And I am going to bring in, so I wanted to get all my stamping out of the way. And I think I'm going to bring in my envelope and use this for, I always got to stamp the envelope so people know it's a handmade card coming at them. And it doesn't have to be much, but let's do that. Good. Just a little something, something. Okay. I could take, now there's a smaller image of just the leaves. And I think I will just put that on the envelope as well. There we go. Put that off to the side for now. And I'm going to keep this stamp on here because, as you can tell on my original, I have stamped for the base portion. So, stamp off there. All right, and I'm going to pull in my pieces for the base. So let me stamp it first. Okay, so we're layering, and this piece is 3 3/4 by 2. And there we go. It doesn't have to be on. It doesn't have to be totally on the cardstock. You can do whatever you like with it. All right. There we go. Little bit darker, but I don't want it to be too dark like the top piece, because this is the focal point, so that can go underneath. And I'm also going to have my sentiment on there. So okay, so my sentiment, I'm going to bring in a scrap piece of paper, and I think I'm going to do the Lovely You stamp. Stick into my nails. Oh, now I pushed too hard. You see, I've got that. That's just not going to do. So, nice thing about this is we can try again on the other side. So this time I won't push so hard. There we go. And I am going to use my cut and emboss machine again to cut out my sentiment. And I'm going to, let's put this aside. And I thought I brought them over. No. I'm going to use the Ornate Frames dies. And you know, I've had these for, I can't tell you how long. And with this card, it was the first time I brought them out. So they're just absolutely delicate looking. And so I'm going to use this one. Will fit perfectly over this. Lovely You. And even if I have made it uneven, it's going to come out. I can move my dies too. And I had a piece cut out, but I will cut this out. Give me 1 second. Let me show you how this is done. I wasn't going to do this part, but I had some people at my games day last week that had never, they're just new stampers and they've never seen it. So I put the die on. This is our mini cut and emboss machine. Let's line everything up. And I'm going to crank it so it goes through. And here we have our die cut piece that is a little crooked. We do have another one somewhere that I pre-cut, but that's okay. All right, get that out of the way. And Now that we've got all of our stamping done, our cutting done, die cutting, let's put this baby together. Okay, don't want to lose those. Stick that back together. Okay, so what I'm going to do before is I want to make this white area pop just a little bit more. And so I'm bringing in my Whisper White. I'm bringing in my white craft pad. And a little bit. What I've done is my re-inker. I've taken a little bit of that and I've put it in the base. I am going to pull in. Now what you could do is if you have a chalk marker, you can take your chalk marker and color it in. Be careful because it will pull in the darker color and it will bleed, but it gives you, as you can see, the white. It will lighten that up. Okay, but I'm going to take a blender pen. So a blender pen is really good. You could just take colors and blend them in. And what you do is just make sure that when you are done, and I don't have a darker color on it, so you can't see that. It's just the white. So I'm going to take my white. Now this is craft ink. It is a little bit thicker than the other inks, so I would suggest, okay, so we're putting on the white and we are covering up where I blended in. So to finish what I was saying was it is thicker than the other colors, so it will take a little bit longer to dry, and be aware of that. It will be a little sticky if it's on too thick. So now this is pulling in the darker color too. I didn't have this problem earlier with the blue. You see it just kind of comes to life. It stands out a little bit more in the forefront. Okay. Now I used, on the other card, I used my heat embossing tool, my heat tool, to dry the white a little bit faster. Hi, Margaret Ann. Nice that you could join me. I had to go. Oh, mail your swaps. Yeah, I got to finish those and mail mine out too. Okay. So we could do it on this. I'm not going to, but there. Oh, just a couple more. All right. So now I'm getting carried away here. All right. Just going to, I can see where it's glossy. So I have to be careful of that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in some ribbon. And I'm just going to be careful that I don't smear that. And when you're tying a ribbon on here, tie your ribbon upside down so that your tails go in the right direction. For some reason, it just works that way. See, they're down. Now, if I did it this way, then they would be pointing up, and I don't want that. Okay, I'm going to line it up just where the stem is. Make that a little bit smaller. Oh, thanks. I'll show you the first one I did. It's an easel card, Margaret Ann. So I used the Night of Navy. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to put some liquid glue on the back. And I want that to stay put, so I'm bring back in this base that we have. And I'm going to adhere that. Pull this a little tighter. Now what I could have done was, and what I should have done is put a piece, this is loose here, so let's see if I can get this back up. I can, it hasn't dried yet. I didn't because this craft ink is still a little wet and I didn't want to smudge it, but do you see how loose that is? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my tear and tape and I'm going to put a couple pieces on the back and pull it together so it's tighter. There. Okay. Now if I don't want to, I can always cut this off so I don't have the bulk in the back. Just cut it, there we go. Okay, so that's on a little bit tighter. Now we'll put this back on. It should stick. Yes, it's sticky, sticky. All right. There we go. So do you see how this, and it is silver, metallic, but it almost takes on the Blackberry Bliss color. Okay, now what I want to do with this is, here I'm just showing you all of my adhesives today, except for one. But I'm going to pull in a glue dot and I'm going to just hold that there so it doesn't, and bring in my take your pick tool. And my glue dots, so you can't see them. Put it under there. Good. Trim this up. Oh, watercolor paper. No, I didn't use watercolor paper. Just your basic white. Okay. So there we go. Now, I want to put on some embellishments. And the nice thing about this is, let's put the base together here. This one's for the inside. I took a picture of all the measurements, Margaret Ann, for Lorna. She asked me to. So I will post those or send them to you via email. Okay, so this is my basic white. Why, oh, why? Seems a little big. That's for the inside, 2 5/8. Okay, let me just cut this down an eighth of an inch. Clearly something's wrong. All right. Now, here's my stamp and seal. Nice and sticky, not a lot of forgiveness. Get it right on the first try. All right, and then we're gonna take our other piece. There we go. And our stamped sentiment that we got. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to prop it up with dimensionals so that it stops the card from sliding forward when you put it up, stand it up as an easel card. So and that's all it takes is one little piece. Okay, I'm going to put that there. This out of the way. Now let's assemble everything. So let me start with my basic white inside. So this is 2 5/8 by 4 1/8, and you notice there's a little bit of a border. So that's in the center of the folded piece. Okay, and this is where we're going to write our sentiments. So here's my stamp and seal and try to get this. I have to stand up so you can see. Camera's in the way. There we go. Perfect. Now, what I'm going to do is this piece, I am going to use my liquid glue, and remember, don't put too much on so that it squishes out, and it is very sticky when it dries. Okay, so just on the bottom piece, and then we are going to line up our finished card front, and it should fit exactly because it is the same width. You see? That's just my white all over the place. Okay, so there we go. So it should fit exactly. Right, so now the dimensions are 5.5 by 4 1/4. We are going to, let's just put that up there. We're going to take this piece and we are going to center it and glue it down. Again, I'm going to use my liquid glue just so I have some wiggle room. There we we go. Give that a second to dry. And as you can see, okay, that's what it looks like. Laying down, then we prop it up. Right there, and it sticks onto our greeting. And there you have it. Okay, open it up, write whatever you want on the inside. So now let's just finish off the embellishments. So we've got our ribbon, and I'm going to take my Stamp and Blend, my dark Blackberry Bliss, and I want to put on some, ooh, you know what I want to do first? And I should have done this before I attached everything, but I forgot. Let's put this out, and I'm going to do the splatter effect. So let me show you how to do that. Very gently take your brush tip end. There's two ends on the Stamp and Blends. One's a little stubbier. Now you don't want to, you're going to place this in the cap and just flick, but be careful. You don't need to do it hard, and you don't want to ruin the tip. I'm going to get back a little bit. Okay, maybe one more. There we go. So it's very subtle. Let me show you. Don't know if you can see that. There we go. A little bit better. So anyway, very subtle, but it just kind of finishes the card off. So now I'm going to take my Stamp and Blend. I'm going to take the nubby end so I don't ruin my other one. And these, because they're alcohol markers, will, I love the Rhinestone Basic Jewels. You can color these. So I'm going to color in a few of them, and I'm going to put them on my card. So I'm going to change the end of my take your pick tool. So this is your picky end. You could use that, but I prefer this, and it's easy to change. And slide up underneath. Put that there. And put one down here. And I'm going to flip over my card. Oh, thanks for sharing. And thank you. Okay, and put a little bit of bling there. So there's our inside, our outside, and then stand up our beautiful easel card. And there we have it. So bring in our envelope that we punched, or that we stamped at the same time, and there you go. So bring in this other one that I made earlier in the Night of Navy. So there we have two different cards. I used a different ribbon because I don't have Night of Navy ribbon, whereas I had the Blackberry Bliss. But anyway, so this ribbon is just, it's got some glitter on it. Very pretty. But there you have it. So this is our card for today. Thanks for joining me, Margaret Ann and Chanel and Lorna. I will, oh, you know what? Before I sign off, I got, just as I was prepping for this, for today, I got my delivery. I got my paper pumpkin for January. So let's have a boo. I'm going to pull this back a bit. Okay. So for anybody who's sitting on the fence about a Paper Pumpkin subscription, let me just show you what it's all about. And so this is great for new stampers, for people who want some want to be able to do things at home and maybe don't have an awful lot of supplies. It's a good way to build up your supplies, because in each Paper Pumpkin you get a stamp set, whatever stamp set that they're using, and you get an ink spot. So they give you a different color depending on what color they use, the ink spots. So you can get a collection of those. I've got a few in my drawer. And it comes with instructions, which is inside. Let me just pull this out and we'll take a look at what's in here. So everything is pre-cut. So this is, and I'm so excited. Okay, so this comes with, like I said, your ink spot, your stamps. It comes with embellishments and some Stampin' Dimensional. So this is your double-sided pop-up glue. Look at that. Look at these cute envelopes. XOXO on the inside. Looks like Flirty Flamingo. And cards. These would be great for the kids to give out at school. So it also comes with more embellishments, you know, that pop out. Where's the instructions? Okay. Ooh, vellum. Look at that. Vellum in here. Glue dots. And some instructions as to how to put them together. So let's see what we've got. So these make beautiful fold up cards. And you know, you don't have to follow the instructions. If you want to get creative, you can create your own. So it looks like this one. Ooh. All right, let's open it up and see. Do you know what didn't come in mine? Probably because they knew I'm already a demonstrator, so they didn't send me a block. But those of you who are just new to the Paper Pumpkin, your first kit will come with a block, a Paper Pumpkin block. Anyway, so here's the instructions to put together the 3 different cards, and I think there's enough in here to put together 12 cards. So as you can see by my mess on my table, you're going to have everything you need to put together these beautiful cards. So, no, 8 cards. Yeah, so this is what it looks like on the inside, and this is what it looks like folded up, that one. This is the whole thing decorated. This is what it looks like folded up. So anyway, yeah, I can't wait to get going on this. Actually, do you know, I'm going to let my kids put this together and they can use them for Valentine's for school. So that's how easy it is to put together a Paper Pumpkin kit. So anyway, thank you for joining me today, and I will be back again next week at 1 o'clock on Thursday. So you have a great day, and bye for now.